Oh, darn it. I forgot the intro again.
The following is a presentation of the Belly Up Sports Media Network.
Here we go.
Let's go. What's going on, everyone? Welcome to No Crunches Required, where you don't need a press pass to talk sports. And as always, we are brought to you by Belly Up Sports in association with Godzilla Media and my new frames.
Oh, they're looking nice. They're looking
Thank
nice.
you.
It's always
Mine's-
people with glasses get to try on like a new face, kind of.
Yeah,
a little
right?
bit.
Oh, come on. As always, we're presented by Belly Up Sports in association with Godzilla Media. My name is Ryan McCarthy. I'm one of your hosts. My broadcast partner was spotted on Sunday trying to slide down the poles in Philadelphia, trying to slide up the poles in Philadelphia. The one, the only, Dustin Henry. Dustin, how are we doing today?
That was me. I'm doing all right, but I'm still recovering. Still recovering. It was it was a bruise to both my body and my ego. No, the pole won.
Always does.
I'm here. I'm ready. I'm ready to rumble. We have I have some thoughts on some things as I know you will. And it's a big day because the Super Bowl's set. We now know who's going to be there.
Mm-hmm.
And
absolutely. We got other news too. We got some coaching news. We've got some hirings. We've got some vacancies yet to fill. We got some fun too. So stick around, folks. Let's have some fun tonight on tonight's show. But before we do that, we just want to remind you about our social channels, which are right down here: Twitter, Instagram, and I guess the barely used TikTok. No Creds REQ, Facebook.com/No Creds REQ. On YouTube, it's YouTube.com / @No Creds REQ. If you're watching on either Facebook or YouTube, smash that like button. Smash it good, but smash responsibly. We appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
And the podcast side, if you're listening on the podcast side, subscribe to our podcast. Megaphone is our home base. You can also find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Spreaker, Google Play, iHeartRadio, wherever you podcast. And also rate and review. We might even read it on the air. And during the show, as always, we appreciate, and Dustin, I know you've been waiting all week to hear this sound. So we want you to engage with the show. So that's right. If you're watching on live or on the replay, engage with us. Leave comments during the show, after the show, during the replay. We want to hear from you. Hear from you.
Leave comments, leave questions. Listen to the dulcet tones of the harp. Let them guide you.
Yes, absolutely. Well, Dustin, championship Sunday has come and gone. Let's talk about the first game of the week of Sunday. That was the 49ers and the Eagles. I was kind of back and forth in this game because I was catching up on the Royal Rumble. I watched Royal Rumble match. It was both the men's and the women's were very entertaining. The last match, the main event, was actually also very entertaining because we got ourselves a bit of a juicy storyline, but we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about 49ers and Eagles. And Dustin, I want your thoughts as to what you were thinking during this game. What was on your mind for this game?
Well, initially I thought we both looked like geniuses because what did the Eagles do to Brock Purdy early? Hassan Reddick got up in his face, they pressured him, they brought the blitz.
Oh, and then wait. Rysterdamus.
There it is. I hear the thunder. He's in the distance. I can feel it. Now, secondly, I thought, I was like, I got something right, because on that first drive of the game, the Eagles torched. A.J. Brown absolutely torched one of the 49er corners for that first score, and the Eagles scored quickly. I have written in my handy-dandy notebook, ballsy by Sirianni to go for it there, but it just goes to show the stakes were high. Both teams knew it. And, initially I'm like, oh, man, Ryan and I are both calling this game. The Eagles wide receivers are beating the 49ers corners. Everything is going as we thought it would. And this is going to be a heck of a game.
So not only was it Rice-Stradamus, but Dustradamus.
Yeah,
was also in effect.
A much more rare.
We're gonna kill this bit.
Yeah.
A
much more rare effect of the Dustradamus. Now, if Baker Mayfield had actually made the playoffs with the Panthers, Dustradamus would have been just an absolute unstoppable force. But Dustradamus was derailed after week 1 of the season. But at that point, I'm thinking this game is going exactly how I thought it would. The 49ers corners are not going to be able to keep up with the Philly wide receivers. The Philly was using, at least to my eye, it was almost like they were using the pass to set up the run early in this game. But then everything fell on its head. This game was actually tough to finish. Philly looked like every bit the team we thought they would be. Their rushing attack actually did a great job against the number 1 49er rush defense. And the 49ers had a lot of, I'll say, mental mistakes in this game due to the frustration of having Brock Purdy go down with what we now know is a torn UCL in his elbow. Josh Johnson came in. He goes down with what I assume was a concussion, the way the hit looked. And so the 49ers had the very real possibility of Christian McCaffrey entering at quarterback. Brock Purdy did come back into the game, but he couldn't throw at all. And I, as a Seahawks fan, I have no love for the 49ers, but you just had to feel bad for them. They were like a boxer with both hands tied behind their back. They couldn't do anything. And the defense actually had an admirable performance trying to hold them and keep them in this game. Christian McCaffrey's an absolute beast. He ran and got their only touchdown. But this game was just kind of tough to watch. It didn't go the way I wanted it to. We wanted great games, and you have to wonder if Brock Purdy was actually in there. I still think Philly would have pulled this game out for all the reasons that we laid out in Friday's show, but I think it would have been much better.
Yeah, Brock Purdy got that same injury that Josh Allen took against the Jets in week 7, week 8, when Bryce Huff bent Josh Allen's elbow pretty much backwards.
Yeah,
and you could tell that there was an injury, thankfully it wasn't disastrous. I mean, because if his UCL was more mangled, he'd be having Tommy John surgery, and next year's quarterback would be uncertain.
Yeah,
it could be Trey Lance. It could have been Trey Lance. Could be Trey Lance or Josh Johnson for all we know.
Yeah,
and also we got to fix this 2 quarterback situation. We have to avoid a circumstance like we did on Sunday when Brock Purdy goes out. Then Josh Johnson goes out, and Brock Purdy's forced to play the game because they don't have a third quarterback. You have to have a third quarterback in the roster, otherwise the game's going to be god awful.
Yeah,
like this turned out to be. And I actually was tuning in. It was a little bit more than 2 minutes left in the first half, and it was only 14-7 at that point. But the Eagles were driving, and then you see Dre Greenlaw grab the face mask. Whether it was on purpose or it was an accident, of Boston Scott, 15-yard penalty or half distance to the goal. You knew at that point it was going to be game over if the Eagles scored, and lo and behold, there it is.
Yeah. And a lot of people have talked about the 49ers, they lost their composure.
Gosh.
But you can't blame them. I mean, the frustration, they're human beings. They feel like they must have felt like they were bringing, and I'm going to use an old tired analogy, but they had to feel like they were bringing a knife to a gunfight. I mean,
Mhm.
once their quarterback went down, your defense can only do so much, and there's only so Kyle Shanahan, we've waxed poetic here on the show about what kind of coach he is. Everyone knows the caliber. He's a creative play. He's a creative play designer, and play caller rather. But when you don't have a half your offensive options, it was clear. It was clear Brock Purdy did one short pass, and it was clear that he could not throw. And Philadelphia, of course, knew that. And so what are the 49ers forced to do? McCaffrey up the middle, McCaffrey to the left, McCaffrey to the right. Oh, here's Deebo Samuel in at running back. We're going to try an end around. We're going to maybe think about a flea flicker, but then not do it. They were really hampered. They were really hampered. So I asked those people that were criticizing the 49ers, if you were on the field and you were a defensive player in that situation, how would you react?
Right, right. And I'm not going to go into the officiating. That's been beaten to death. I did a bit on Snowman in the morning. Shout out to Snowman who says hey hey in the chat. I did a bit on Snowman in the morning about how terrible the referee, some of the calls were, and Pat, and also they sent me a fine. So I've been fined by the NFL for talking crap about the referees, but they deserve it.
That's a very formal fine request by the NFL. I mean,
Yes,
it's very very official.
It's signed by Goody Good. So if you don't know who Goody Good is, well, now you know. But there were some calls. They let the game get out of hand late in the game. Trent Williams, Kayvon Wallace,
Yes.
both ejected for basically getting in a scruff. If this was rugby, all that rough play would have been quashed right away. Would have been quashed because I watch rugby. I watch rugby often. When things start to get out of hand, the referee takes control, and these officials did not take control in the fourth quarter of that game. And now we've got Trent Williams possibly facing a suspension for the first game of the season. Kayvon Wallace is getting fined. I don't think he's going to be suspended for any of the Super Bowl at all, but he'll certainly get a fine for his actions. But there's also the instance of that missed dropped catch by Devontae Smith in the first quarter that actually was led to
the
touchdown, the first touchdown. Now, I don't know what it is with, I mean, that was on Kyle Shanahan, why he didn't challenge it.
Yeah,
I don't know.
why they didn't. Yeah.
Maybe he got intimidated by the Philadelphia crowd who, I don't want to quote my cousin Matt here. He wrote, Philly fans would boo Jesus riding a unicorn down Broad Street, handing out $1 million checks. That's how rough Philly fans can get in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
I think he might have gotten a little intimidated by that crowd because he knew if he had requested a challenge, they would have rioted right away.
Yeah, well, and the thing is too, it was obvious. Even I was sitting here, and I'm like, oh, like I was like, oh, great catch, what a call to go for it. But then I saw how fast Philly was trying to hustle to the line, and they knew that he didn't catch it. Devonta Smith knew he didn't catch it. Everybody was just moving real fast because they're trying to get to the line so they can get the next playoff. I was shocked. I thought for sure it's on Kyle Shanahan because he is the head coach, but they're also if memory serves, most NFL teams have staff whose job it is to review each play and be like and get it down to the head coach and say challenge that. And so it's also on them too.
Oh yeah, that's for sure. But you gotta go. Give your props, give your congratulations to the Philadelphia Eagles, as they're called, sometimes by the Eagles fans, and they're on their way to Glendale. And it's going to be like I said on Friday, I wouldn't be disappointed if any of these four teams
Yes.
made it to the Super Bowl, and I'm not surprised Philadelphia. I mean, unless you're a Commanders, a Cowboys, or a Giants fan, but you got to give credit where credit's due.
Yes.
They're in the Super Bowl, and you're
Yeah.
not.
Yeah, and they were, I think, in most people's minds, they were far and away the best team in the NFC, with the exception of the Niners. The Niners were there with them, but from wire to wire, the Eagles never really faltered, except when Jalen Hurts wasn't in there.
Yeah.
And that's and this game for me was an eye opener. We watch a lot of football, but a lot of times I watch Red Zone, and I'm also focusing on my Seahawks. That's the team I keep the closest eye on. Hassan Reddick is a force. If he has half the game that he had in the Super Bowl, the Chiefs are going to be in trouble, because he was wrecking things from the get-go in there. I have written down in my notebook so many times: Hassan Reddick pressured, Hassan Reddick sacked, Hassan Reddick caused a strip sack, Hassan Reddick recovers fumble. Like he's all over my notebook here.
Yep. He's everywhere. Yeah. Well, we're going to take, before we go to a quick ad break from Invader Coffee, just want to go to the comment section. Jeff S., loyal viewer, says hello to start the show. Snowman says hey. Jeff also says, and Jeff Stradamus, he called it 24. Super Bowl scored 28-24, Philly over KC last week. Still looking good. Yeah, he called that. He called both the Chiefs and the Eagles in this game.
There we go.
And he also says, shame that Purdy went out for sure, just for the sake of a close game. I agree.
Yeah.
But that's football for you.
It is.
All right, so we're going to take a quick break from our friends at Invader Coffee. Stand by for more No Credentials Required. This episode of No Credentials Required is brought to you by Invader Coffee. For the coffee lover who wants good, quality coffee with no bullshit and no filler, Invader Coffee is an ultra-premium, veteran-owned coffee company proudly delivering only the best coffee your hard-earned money can buy. They aim to only serve the highest quality, organic, air-roasted coffee beans sourced from free trade farms all over the world. They keep things simple. The best coffee at an affordable price in order to provide you with the value you deserve for your morning boost. 100% fair trade, 100% organic coffee beans, 100% air roasted, 100% money back guarantee. Visit invadercoffee.com, enter promo code BELLYUP at checkout, and receive 15% off your order. That's right, folks. Invader Coffee. Support the show. If you're watching on YouTube or watching on Facebook, our affiliate link is at the bottom of the description. So support the show by ordering Invader Coffee. You can also save 15% off your order with promo code BELLYUP at checkout. Dustin, have you got the new flavor yet?
I have not. I've been assured that my order is close, and I got a slip on my door today. I think this is on the post office, because they said they attempted to deliver it, but for some reason I got to read the slip and see what it says. But candidly, I do get a lot of packages here, so it might be something else. I might be getting my wires crossed, but I've been tracking my order, and I am eagerly awaiting this flavor while still enjoying some of my. I will confess, I've been saving it. I still have an unopened bag of Bad Santa that I'm gonna crack into. I'm very excited.
Yeah, you're saving the spirit of Christmas for your for another time. I for the weekend. I get it. I totally get it, because unfortunately the Bad Santa's not around. They just took it off the shelf actually. Until next Christmas. But I'm actually enjoying their tiramisu, which I think it's really delightful. It's nice, and it's got that nice tiramisu flavor, the amaretto and the espresso. And I'm also enjoying their chocolate lust, which is their limited edition Valentine's flavor. It has a bit of a hint of Belgian chocolate in the flavorings. But pro tip, if you're enjoying the chocolate lust from Invader Coffee, drink it black. Get yourself a piece of dark chocolate.
Ooh.
Then take a sip of coffee. Those notes come out really, really nicely.
Oh, nice. A little accentuation, a pro tip.
Absolutely.
Pro tip from the hostess with the mostest, the host with the most. I'm sorry.
Whoa. I didn't say how I identified, sir.
My apologies.
But I can assure you, I am all man. And you will be all man too if you order yourself some Invader Coffee by using our show link and use code BELLYUP at checkout to save 15% off your order.
And I must say one quick thing on Invader Coffee. I find that the flavored coffees, they're not overwhelming like some of them can be. And it's just the perfect amount, you know? Invader's just top shelf all the way around.
And you're supporting a veteran-owned company. That's very important it's very, very important. So let's move on to the AFC Championship. Bengals at the Chiefs. This was the better of the two games, of course. I mean, naturally, you got blowout in the first game. You're thinking, all right, how's this game going to play out? And it turned out to be one of the best games of the season. And Dustin, again, I want to get your thoughts. This game had a little bit of everything, and I thought the Chiefs were going to be come out of the gate. They had that risky fourth down play where they had that pull to the right side, the bootleg to the right side, and Mahomes finds Travis Kelce in the end zone. But Mahomes at times didn't look like he was doing too bad on his ankle.
No.
But they had some other issues. They had some injuries on defense. I know Snead went out with a head injury, but they maintained their composure. They got to Joe Burrow, which was very surprising. They got to him 5 times. They had 4 sacks in the first half.
Yeah.
And then we come to the last 30 seconds of the game. You leave way, way too much time on the Chiefs clock. You had that really bad penalty by the Bengals that puts, which some have questioned.
Yeah.
Some have questioned, myself included, a little bit of a doubt on whether Patrick Mahomes flopped like LeBron James to get to draw that penalty. But you know, I this game was entertaining. The best team was going to win this game, and the Chiefs were the best team. They led in possession, they led in yardage. They were the better team this day, and they went up winning the game. So kudos to them. They're going to Glendale. So Dustin, what's your thoughts on this game?
Well, my takeaway for this game is there's another Rystradamus sighting, but this one is from a few weeks ago.
We're gonna kill this sound effect.
you had mentioned that Steve Spagnuolo's Chiefs defense was very opportunistic, and that just continues to occur. It just continues to happen. When the Chiefs need a sack, they get a sack. Chris Jones got some very timely sacks that they needed to force the Bengals into a 3rd and 24, which
he's a dark horse defensive player of the year candidate.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, former Seahawk Frank Clark, he also gets some sacks every now and again when the Chiefs need them. They always seem to get an interception when they need it. That interception on late in the game on Burrow, that was kind of a tip pass. That wasn't really on Joe Burrow. He might have thrown it a little too high. But this game, the two teams, I said the Bengals are not ready for this. And I was very surprised because the first half, this was a coming out party for Steve Spagnuolo, and I gotta take my cap off to the man. I gotta give him his flowers because I think myself with a lot of people remember Steve Spagnuolo with those Giants defenses. You know, the couple of years where they beat the Patriots in the Super Bowl, and and they had some people on the defensive unit. They still had Strahan. They had Jason Pierre-Paul at the time. He was a young player. I'm trying to think of who else they had. OCU Minora. I think he was big on their defensive line during that era. Steve Spagnuolo's defenses were great. Then he had a head coaching stop that went a little disastrous. And then he's been a defensive coordinator, but he hasn't quite had the cachet. You know, you're always like, oh, you wonder, at least I did. I wondered myself, Steve Spagnuolo, is it just name value now? Is it just, I hate to invoke this name, but is it like Rob Ryan? People had these myths about a Rob Ryan coach defense. His defenses were never good, Rob Ryan. At least Rex Ryan had some good defenses.
Okay. Yep. Sorry, Rex. I know you're watching right now. You're a big fan of Credentials Acquired. I apologize for putting your name in my mouth.
Shout out, Rex. You might enjoy it if we put our foots in our mouth, though. I'm sorry, I had to. But Rob Ryan.
There we go.
Rob Ryan always had these like defenses that people are like, oh, Rob Ryan does a great job on defenses. And his defenses were like the Cleveland Browns, Dallas. They were
The Saints.
They were not good defenses for the most part. But Steve Spagnuolo, I apologize. You have got this Kansas City defense. You're dialing up the blitz at the exact right times. It was rattling Burrow. The offensive line of the Bengals in the first half was looking like the offensive line from early in the season when they were a turnstile. Everything was going awry for the Bengals. And then the second half happened, and I got to give the credit to the Bengals because they kind of settled in there a little bit, and they adjusted, and that offensive line figured it out. Chris Jones did get the sacks late in the game. There was a couple blips, but it was much better. As you mentioned, KC had 5 total sacks. 4 of them were in the first half. So the Bengals kind of righted the ship a little bit. And then the Chiefs at times looked out of sync. It was a classic seesaw matchup. There was a play where Mahomes came down kind of awkwardly on his ankle and put a lot of pressure on it. And you could see that he was limping a little gingerly after that. But the Bengals just started to get these penalties at these inopportune times. There was a penalty on Eli Apple after the Bengals had come up with a critical stop of the Chiefs, and it just extended the drive. And the Chiefs are good enough. You can't do that with them. And a little side note before I stop my rambling here, it seems that Marquez Valdez-Scantling had like the best game that I can remember of his career. He had 116 yards and a TD, so the Bengals weren't really slowing him down. But yeah, the Chiefs came out on top. The end of the game, like you said, went real sideways for the Bengals. You can't. That penalty put the Chiefs right in the field position that they needed.
And what was up with that do-over?
Yes, that's what I was just about to say. I was going to say,
you know what's funny?
I couldn't even figure it out. I DVR'd the game, and because I was over at dinner, so I knew I was going to miss a chunk of it. Mm-hmm. I rewound that, and I still couldn't figure out what happened. I don't know what happened with that.
I mentioned this on Snowman's show yesterday. I said this is the 5th down. Eric Bieniemy was involved in the 5th down game during the 1991 season for the Colorado Buffaloes. And here we are over 30 years later, again, 5th down. Man. He gets 5th down, and he's the OC of the Chiefs.
Oh, man.
How did this happen? Let
me tell you something right now. Not only are you Rystradamus, but that's why you're the best in the business. You're coming up with these facts like this. That's amazing.
Pshaw.
Meanwhile, I'm confusing Sam Wyche and Frank Wycheck on here. Yeah, no, you guys, you don't have the best to work with here.
Wycheck, Wyche, potato, tomato, tomato. Let's call the whole thing off.
Oh man, but yeah,
I do have to ask though. I do have to ask this question because we've heard it all weekend. We've heard it all season. This officiating has been hot garbage.
Yeah.
Do you think it's rigged? Do you think this was rigged?
I don't think it is. I really don't think it is. Whenever somebody says the NFL is rigged, I just feel like it's ridiculous. However, there are times like this where it makes you just that little thing.
Watch yourself, Dustin. Watch yourself. You get one of these.
I don't think it's rigged, but however, I do think, and in my opinion, the NFL previous to this has done it the best way, where the NFL officiating crews, as the game gets bigger, the higher ranked officiating crews based on, evaluations of the calls that they miss versus get right during the game. The crews that should be doing the biggest games end up doing the biggest games in the NFL. But
It's the
There were-
best of the best of the best should be in these games.
Yeah. So you're not stuck like with baseball where you have like Angel Hernandez deciding a pivotal.
Or Joe West.
Yeah.
Oh,
Cowboy Joe West out there. But anyway, it it was befuddling to me because it looked like they couldn't even explain what was going on. They didn't have.
it's like the spirit of Jerome Boger's crew invaded these bodies.
I was hoping you were going to bring them out because I mean, we're not trying to take shots at Jerome Boger, but people know. People know.
People know.
I don't think it was rigged, but there are some plays sometimes that make you go,
Like CNC Music Factory, things that make you go,
Yeah. And even in the other game, even though it was out of hand, when Sam Elliott punted that ball and it just looked odd. It just went out of bounds and everybody on the Eagles sideline pointed up and said, "There's a wire. It hit the wire." Really? Are all the Eagles sideline going to at the same time be like, "All right, guys, here's what's going to happen. If a really crappy punt happens in the game, we're just all going to point up at the same time and say there's a wire there." And then the officials come out and they're like, "Oh, it's inconclusive. We can't tell that the ball hit the wire."
They're looking at Superman. Look, this guy, it's a bird, it's a plane. It's Skywire.
Yeah. They were playing the game in the trop. Nobody knew.
Hey, at least it didn't drop down like they did in the first Jets-Bills game. They had to delay the game for 18 minutes.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh man.
Well, we got some more comments in the chat here. Jeff says, "I wish they hadn't called it," meaning that penalty that Mahomes drew at the end. But suppose it was right. So mixed feelings.
Yes.
We've got we've got a new ad read, Dustin.
Oh, all right.
Actually, do you want to handle this one?
Sure.
All right, go for it.
No Credentials Required is proudly brought to you by Deep Left Coffee Brew, the brew all the way from left field.
Ayo, we'll need that for baseball season 6.
Yeah.
Jeff says callbacks are great. I especially like the Rex Ryan foot joke. And our boy Scott. Scott
there you
has chimed
go.
in. He's watching on Facebook. He says, "Say what you want about Mahomes. Have to tip your cap to him. He willed them to the Super Bowl on one leg."
Yes.
He was his receiving core was a mass unit in the second half. Guys were dropping like flies. I mean, Scott Moore was one of his top options at the end of the game, and he had that punt return that set them up nicely too.
Set them up with a great field position. Yeah.
And he also says, "Great job, guys." Well, thanks, Scott. We appreciate your time tuning in and contributing.
And the other thing is too, he did all of this while the Chiefs largely could not run the ball. Here I was on here.
Another team could run the ball.
Yeah, it's true. We thought that Samaje Perine and Joe Mixon were going to be difference makers in this game, and they weren't. And I was on here. On Friday saying how fast Pacheco looked and everything. Both run games were held in check, but you do. Scott's right. You got to tip your hat to Mahomes. People might be taking shots at him, but he deserves to be where he is. For sure.
Yeah, that's for sure. And 6 says that was one of my favorite songs. Things to make you go, from 1991. Yep.
Yeah.
Good. That's one of those Xenial bangers that just comes up every once in a while,
Oh, yeah.
The people, like folks like me born between 77 and 83, like both of us are Xenials.
Oh, yeah.
We've got that cynicism of Gen X, but we got the tech savvy of millennials. That's why we're Xenials.
Yep, our micro generation.
Generation, yes.
There are certain songs that come on, like if you're at a club or you're somewhere and a song comes on, and that one's on the list, but it's like a Pavlovian response. Like it's like a call. Our head snaps to one side, and we're like, we got to get on the dance floor, or we got to be singing along. The other one I'd say is No Diggity. Whenever that comes on,
Blackstreet,
so
good.
Or This Is How We Do It by Montel Jordan, of course. Which, side note, I was at the Soup Stroll with Scott this past weekend, and in one of the venues where I was trying the soups, somebody was playing This Is How We Do It on the acoustic guitar. And let me tell you, they were making it work.
Oh, we got a couple more Xenials in the chat too. Sick from 1982, Jeff 1983.
Yes.
Yes, us micro-generational guys. This is our stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm actually thinking about doing a playlist called it'll be all Xenial hits, like from our era, from like mid 90s to early 2000s.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna call it Bangers I Hardly Even Knowers. a Xenial mix.
We'll do that. That'll be good. That'll get some hits, man.
So we're going to move on to NFL news. We got some new coaches in Denver and Houston. Plus, we've got some fun on the way. So we're going to take a quick ad break from our friends at Manscaped for Belly Up Sports. So stick around for more No Credentials Required.
Welcome to Fresh Ball Fall. It's the season of pumpkin spice and making sure your crotch looks nice. That means sipping cider in a fall breeze and using Manscaped products to trim your balls with ease. That's right, today's show is brought to you by Manscaped, a company here to make sure that your foliage isn't the only thing shedding its excess leaves. Heck, even Mother Nature knows it's time to lose the excess clutter for fall. Join the 6 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped by going to manscaped.com for 20% off and free shipping when you use the promo code BELLYUPFANTASY. Whether you're brand new or already with us at Manscaped, you could use the crown jewel of care for your family jewels, the Platinum Package 4.0. This glorious package, you can align your entire hygiene routine all in one swoop. Inside the 10-part Platinum Package is everything you know and love about the Performance Package, plus some shower goodies included to elevate your grooming game to platinum. You can now completely upgrade your shower routine with the Ultra Premium Body Wash and Ultra Premium 2-in-1 Shampoo and Conditioner. You'll have your skin and hair feeling hydrated and smelling fresh. Don't forget to apply their aluminum-free Ultra Premium Deodorant. And don't worry, it's not pumpkin spice, it's a cologne-quality fragrance. Get the Platinum Package this fall. These products are guaranteed to be hits for your dangly bits. Go to manscaped.com to get 20% off and free shipping with the promo code BELLYUPFANTASY. That's 20% off and free shipping at manscaped.com when you use the promo code BELLYUPFANTASY. Manscaped, clear out the leaves. It's your tree trunk's time to shine.
Woo, that's right. Manscaped. Use the promo code BELLYUPFANTASY at checkout. You get 20% off your order and free shipping. I've actually got a beard. They've got a new beard trimmer that it's on the way. So I'm looking forward to getting that. My beard game's going to be much. The beard game's going to change. Let's put it that way.
Oh boy,
which is required. So I'm looking forward to it.
That's another reason to tune in. You know what we should do, Ryan? We should make a change to your beard gradually. Like once a week for each show. The beard's a little different, so people tune in. They're like, "Hey," but you have to structure it so that like eventually you get to the look that you want. You know, why
does he have handlebars?
Yeah.
Brother.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see what we could do, but I'll definitely give a product review for sure because I'm looking forward to it. It just came out I believe it came out just recently, so I'm looking forward to getting my kit. And again, I'll do a product review, and we'll go from there. Well, I'll let you know how it works. So we had some breaking news this afternoon.
Wow, we
have new head coaches going to be announced very, very soon in Denver and in Houston. The first news came out in Houston, or actually Denver, excuse me. Wide reports coming out that the Denver Broncos are going to hire Sean Payton, former Saints coach Sean Payton, as their head coach. They actually had to make a deal with the New Orleans Saints. They had to surrender their first round pick for next season and a second round pick next season for Payton and a 2024 fourth round pick. So Dustin, your immediate thoughts on this particular hiring?
My first immediate thought is do the Broncos want to draft in 2023? But
that was my question. That was my first question too.
Yeah, I will say this though. I think that this could work. I really, Sean Payton, we all know what kind of coach he is. We all know, the story what he accomplished in New Orleans with Drew Brees at the time. Everybody was questioning whether Drew Brees was going to be okay. That marriage worked out very well for them for a lot of years. And I do think that Sean Payton, the how do I put this delicately? The last time that he was tied to a quarterback, there were physical questions about the quarterback. There were questions about his shoulder. There were questions about, would he be able to perform? And I think, and I'm saying this as one of the, I thank Russell Wilson for what he did in the city of Seattle. He played unbelievably for us for a lot of years. But I will say this, in Denver this year, granted, we're going to see how much of it was on Hackett now that he's not there. We're going to see how much of it was growing pains, Russ learning a new system, heading into a new system. But I would argue that Russell Wilson at times this year looked like a quarterback who didn't know how to make decisions anymore, who didn't know how to improvise with the ball anymore. And he, to my eye, does not look like he's still mobile. He is mobile for sure, but he does not have quite the legs that he had prior to a couple of injuries. And also Russell is aging. But I will say Drew Brees he's taller than Russell Wilson, but he was the start of the quote unquote shorter quarterback coming in, and Sean Payton certainly made that work. And I do think that Denver has some talented pieces. They have at running back, they have the young rookie not rookie, but the second year player that was hurt. They do have the wide receivers, Jerry Jeudy. He hasn't really shown the flashes of talent that a lot of people thought he would. There's been flashes, but he hasn't been quite the weapon. Cortland Sutton, and we all know how Denver's defense played this year. So I think Sean Payton could go a long way in turning this around, especially if he can rebuild Russell Wilson's confidence, because I think it's gone. But you gave up a lot to get him, and you gave up a lot to get your quarterback last year. So you're kind of mortgaging your future. This has to work.
No, I agree. It has to work, or else John Denver. John, what's going to nosedive on that joke? John Elway is not going to be. Well, I mean, I think he's ownership, so it's not going to matter whether or not he gets let go. But I mean, it could be a good marriage. Let's put it that way. I mean, the offense has to work somehow. I think Chase Edmonds is not your answer at running back.
No.
You need to draft a running back, whether it be now. I don't know what their situation is for the draft. They have no more first round picks. I don't know if their second round pick situation is where the second round pick situation is, but I have a feeling they're going to have to draft a running back similar to Alvin Kamara or an Ingram or Ingram. Can't remember his first name.
I mean,
Mark Ingram.
Okay.
He had with Drew Brees. So you have to have a premier running back. Melvin Gordon wasn't the answer. Chase Edmonds is not the answer.
No. They do have Javonte Williams, though, who unfortunately was hurt early in the season, and I think he's a pretty talented back. So
okay, yeah.
But we'll have to see on that one.
That's a wait and see at running back. Wide receiver, they're set. Quarterback, I think they're set. I think it was just a bad year for Russell Wilson. You're getting used to a new city. You're getting used to a system that did not work for you, and now you're gonna get a coach who knows how to coach a quarterback, who has a quarterback friendly system. I think Russell Wilson's gonna have a nice bounce back year this year, in my estimation. I know there's a lot of people out there who don't like him because of his personality. He's kind of corny. Say what you will, but there's a reason why he's in the NFL. And it's
Yeah.
not because he's losing or because he's a complete dork. It's
Yeah.
because he knows how to win. But like I said, unfortunately, this is just the last 2 years have not been great for Russell Wilson.
No.
I think he's going to have a comeback. I mean, here's Reistradamus saying it again.
Mhm.
Let's wait till September and into November. But I think Russell Wilson getting himself a quarterback-friendly coach who knows how to work a system, who knows how to set up his quarterback for success, I think he's going to have a good year in 2023.
Well, yeah, and also, Ryan, I can almost guarantee you that Coach Payton is actually going to have his starters, play at least a couple of snaps in preseason.
Yes. Absolutely.
That was ridiculous. That was totally ridiculous. And just to finish quickly on Russell Wilson, I know there are reasons why a lot of people relished in his failure. A lot of people were thrilled about it. And I am one of the people, I think Pete Carroll should have at least been considered for Coach of the Year. But those great Seahawk teams were not. Everybody likes to say, well, he had Marshawn and he had the Legion of Boom. He had the defense. But all of those Seahawk fans would do well to remember there were plenty of games where Russell Wilson came up with some magic late. It's not all Pete Carroll. It's not all the defense. It wasn't all Marshawn, just like it wasn't all Russell Wilson. It was a merging of all of those factors.
Yeah, it was a complete crap storm this year for the Broncos.
Yes.
So, let's see what happens. I think it's going to be a good match. It's like being on a dating app. Oh, you're a good match. We do have a couple questions. They're actually directed at me, but actually a couple are directed at me. We got Sick Diggy. He's one of the good guys from Snowman in the Morning. He says, "How bad are you kicking yourself with the hack now in the coaching staff at your beloved Jets, or are you completely irate?" It's a mixed bag for me. We know what happened with Nathaniel Hackett this year. He was not a good head coach. And I've said this on this program many times. There are coaches who are who are very good coordinators, but they're not meant to be the guy. They're not meant to be the head coach. Nathaniel Hackett's one of them. So I think he can fix this Jets offense. It's going to be great if they can pick up a bona fide quarterback who can lead them to the promised land. I'm leaning towards Derek Carr. I wouldn't be mad if they got Aaron Rodgers. The salary cap is going to go up this year. It's going to expand by, I think, $16 million. So it's going to be $224.8 million. The cap's gone up every year since the COVID year of 2020. So, and Sick also asked about the situation regarding the Broncos salary cap. Well, again, every team is going to have a $16 million bump next year. That includes the Broncos. That includes the Jets. So in terms of Hackett, I'm not mad at it. I'm going to wait and see. I'm in a holding pattern. Again, no pun intended, because it's the Jets. But I'm curious to see how he'll fix this offense. He's going to use Elijah Moore. He's going to use Garrett Wilson more. Don't forget, Breece Hall's coming back next year.
Yeah,
he's not going to be 100%. Like he's going to have I'm hoping he's 100% in terms of his running ability, his breakaway speed, his toughness, and a Nathaniel Hackett run offense predicates itself on the run. You see what happened with Green Bay.
Yeah,
Aaron Rodgers had back-to-back MVP seasons, 2019 and 2020. A big part of that was having Aaron Jones in the backfield, controlling the run, getting big plays in the run. So you get Breece Hall back, it's going to help your quarterback. It's going to take pressure off the quarterback, regardless of who's in the backfield next year, or it be Aaron Rodgers or Derek Carr or Jimmy Garoppolo or Lamar Jackson. But I'm leaning more towards Derek Carr as the starting quarterback for the New York Jets next year. So I'm not mad that Nathaniel Hackett is the new OC of the Jets. I'm actually happy that they picked up the Texans' former offensive line coach, because his offensive lines were paving the way for Derrick Henry over the last 5 seasons.
Oh, the
That's who
former
I'm excited to
Titans.
see.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's who I'm excited to see.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm also curious to see who they get as quarterbacks coach.
Well, and it's also this could be something that works really well for both sides of this
Wise Old
agreement.
Hefe, thanks for checking in.
And because it's clear Robert Saleh needs an offensive mind to balance him out and to help him, to guide him. And Nathaniel Hackett fell on his face in Denver. And he needs a place where he can go and kind of rehabilitate. I mean, what better launching pad, especially now? I'm going out on a branch here, but say the Jets don't bring anybody in at quarterback. I don't think that this is gonna happen, but say they don't, and say they decide we're going with Zach Wilson. And what will it do for Nathaniel Hackett's credibility if he somehow coaches, even at this point, even a competent NFL offense with Zach Wilson at its helm? That would do wonders to rebuild him as well. So this could work out very well.
And you bring in a veteran quarterback who can quarterback this team the next 3 seasons. Especially, like I said, I would like Derek Carr on my team. I think he's a good leader. He went through all that adversity in 2021 with John Gruden, and he led that team to the playoffs. He willed that team into the playoffs. This past year, it wasn't all on him. The defense gave a big lead in the second half. And I think if they had kept Rich Bisaccia as their head coach, they would have been in the playoffs this year. They would have been a wild card team.
He did a great job.
He did an awesome job, and now he's Green Bay's he's Green Bay's special teams coach. So back to the drawing board for him. But to have Zach Wilson sit behind a veteran quarterback for 2-3 seasons would do I think it would do wonder. It would do a service for him, and the Jets acknowledged that as such in the postseason right after week 17. They said, yeah, we should have, looking back in hindsight, we should have sat Zach Wilson for a season.
Yeah.
Wow. At least you're admitting that. But,
yeah.
But enough about the Jets. We got to talk about this new hire in Houston, DeMeco Ryans. He signs a 6-year deal with the Houston Texans, former linebacker for the Houston Texans, comes back home to coach the team he played for. And I gotta say this right off the bat, I hope the McNairs don't treat him like they treated David Colley and like they treated Lovie Smith over the last 2 seasons.
Yeah.
I hope they at least let him try to build a team. Now, the Texans defense is okay. I mean, Jared back in episode 100 mentioned that the Texans defense is a lot better than people give them credit for. The problem is a lot of it was their offense. Their offensive line was bad. They had virtually no receiving core outside of I can't remember his name all of a sudden, but I couldn't remember. But they also had that running back who played pretty well the first couple of weeks, and then all of a sudden dropped off the face of the earth.
The young rookie running back. Yeah.
Yep.
I'm also Damon Pierce, I think, was it?
Yes. Yeah. So, Dustin, what's your impression of the Texans hiring DeMeco Ryans?
Well, I feel much the same way that you do. I have been on record many times on this show in my relatively short tenure as a part of it that David Culley was jobbed, and I feel like Lovie Smith as well. I mean, you can't leave the cupboard bare and bring in a coach and just expect them to work wonders. And if they don't after 1 year, you're out. It's usually not how the NFL works. So I hope that this coach, like you're saying, I'm hoping that DeMeco Ryans gets a chance to stay there for a little bit, install a system, build something, and also it can't be understated. D'Amico Ryans, he was a player not too long ago.
No,
So
no.
there are times when, especially younger players, if they know that a coach played at one time and it wasn't back in, no disrespect to anybody, but it wasn't back in the 60s, wasn't back in the 70s or 80s. It was not too long ago. They might relate to him more, and they might have their ears a little more open to what he wants to say, because he's been in their shoes just a
Yeah.
short time ago, and he
Mhm.
clearly he knows how to coach a defense. So I am hoping that the Texans give him a fair amount of runway, and I think this could work if he's given time. I think this could work.
Yeah. He's going to have a new quarterback to work with. I think they're definitely going to draft CJ Stroud or Bryce Young. One of those two quarterbacks is going to be drafted by the Houston Texans, because the Bears are sure as heck not going to draft a
Yeah,
quarterback. They got their quarterback.
yeah,
The problem is they don't have an offensive line to support him. And Brandon Cooks was the receiver I was thinking of.
yes.
But otherwise, I couldn't think of anybody else. Uh, Wiesel Hefe chimes in. Josh Daniels is trash. Josh McDaniels is trash. But yeah, he's going to get his own quarterback to start with. I'm kind of curious to see what kind of staffing is going to hire for offense. There are some good names out there. Some names out there that could possibly fill the void. Hopefully, some young coaches out there. They also, in addition to a quarterback, I think they also need to rebuild the offensive line.
Yeah,
Sure, you've got yourself Laramie Tunsil, but
yeah.
he's your
He's
only.
it.
He's a left tackle, great, but he's it.
Yeah,
He's really it. So I'm just hoping that this is not just a ploy by the McNair family just to say, "Hey, look at us. We followed the Rooney Rule. We've hired 3 black coaches. Good for you. Good
yeah,
for you. You're just and it's gonna be taken out of context, but they're signaling their virtue.
yeah,
Oh, what? You're This is a city that a couple years ago this team could have gone to the Super Bowl. This team could have gone to the Super Bowl had Bill O'Brien not decide to go crazy and try to be both general manager and coach. And the whole Deshaun Watson situation, that
oh
disgusting
yeah,
thing between, and
yes,
I think a lot of it had to do with the owner. Yeah, Deshaun Watson had his trouble on his part hiring, let's face it, Instagram models to give him a massage and then some.
yeah,
But at the
yeah,
same time, the McNair family digging up all that dirt on him and did not look good. So I
yeah,
really hope D'Amico Ryan doesn't have any skeletons in his closet, because McNairs will go out and they will try to find that dirt on you and make you look like pardon my English, the shittiest person on the face of the planet.
yeah, yeah. They're just, and you know what, you couldn't have really segued any better for what I want to say about the next hire that we're gonna talk
Oh
about.
yes.
You really teed me up, because I teased it. On Friday's episode.
Mm-hmm.
I have some thoughts
Oh,
about a certain situation in
oh,
Carolina, but I'm gonna let you take the lead, and then I'm gonna get in here and I might rant a little bit.
okay. So in Carolina, the Carolina Panthers have hired the first quarterback in their franchise history, and one Frank Reich, former Buffalo Bill, former New York Jet too. He's also a New York Jet for a season, back in the disastrous 90. I think it was a 94 season. He was the Jets quarterback, but he was Carolina's first ever franchise quarterback. Um, he's got a mess to
Yeah,
repair. No, their defense, no, like Houston, Carolina's defense is a little underrated. Their offense is atrocious. Their
yeah,
offensive line can't they can run block, but they can't pass block. I think Sam Darnold's pretty much going to be on his way out. They've got a good run. I'm wondering what he's going to do with this running back tandem.
hmm
Um,
Chuba Hubbard and
Chuba
Donta
Hubbard
Foreman,
and
right?
Dante Foreman. Yep,
Yeah,
Chuba Hubbard, Dante Foreman, DJ Moore, good receiver. Um, Quarterback situations up in the air. offensive line is atrocious. It's a walking atrocity. I'm just kind of curious to see what he's going to do. But Dustin, I'm going to hand it over to you. I know you're going to go on a little bit of a rant here, but um, what's your thoughts on this hiring?
First of all, I want to preface this. Nothing against Frank Reich. Nothing against Frank Reich, but honestly, and I think Frank Reich's a good coach. I think he is a good coach. I think maybe he had just, I don't know what happened in Indianapolis. Whenever you have Jim Irsay as an owner, anything is possible. So, but Frank Reich, I have nothing against him. The fit in Carolina could be good. Maybe they're bringing him in because they figure, okay, Frank's a former quarterback. He knows how to coach quarterbacks. Look what he did with Nick Foles. We're gonna bring in a young quarterback so that Frank Reich can develop them and teach them, and maybe he can rebuild Sam Darnold a little bit outside shop. Maybe he can rebuild them a la Nick Foles, in Philly, or some of those cases where he was involved with back in the day. But with all that being said, this is nothing against Frank Reich at all. But to have Steve Wilks, from what I understand, not even be considered for this head coaching job after the job that he did, it frustrates me because it makes me realize that the NFL is still in a place where they are hesitant to promote minority coaches. And also when they do, the Rooney Rule, I do believe in the NFL it has to be in place. But there are too many teams that exploit it. They either hire somebody for 1 year and they jettison them, or they bring in some interviews. And I'm gonna try to tread lightly here, but they bring in interviews where it is clear that those coaches do not have the chance at the job. They are just being brought in to check a box. But yep. Steve Wilks did an amazing job in Carolina after the chaos that he had to deal with. Matt Rule, like, things went so sideways with Matt Rule, and you had the Robbie Anderson debacle, and you had and you had everything. Steve Wilks had this team winning games with a former XFL quarterback at the helm. He had DJ Moore was invincible for games under Matt Rule's tenure. Steve Wilks revived him. Steve Wilks, they traded away their best offensive weapon in Christian McCarthy, and Steve Wilks kept running the ball, and it kept working. He was doing, and he clearly, like, you could tell he had that team bought into whatever he was saying. He had that team believing that they weren't going to get blown out every week. They weren't phoning it in. To not even consider the man for this job when he was in-house, he was there. It's an affront. It's terrible. It shows that the NFL still has a lot of work to do in spite of the Rooney Rule and everything that they've tried to put in. And the Rooney Rule needs to be something more than just a box ticked. I don't know how we fix it, but it just goes to show that the NFL would rather hire somebody who's been around before rather than take a chance on an in-house person who was already there and knows the roster and was winning games when he shouldn't have been winning games. Yeah. That's it.
Amen. No, I agree, and I hope Steve Wilks winds up in a staff somewhere. I actually hope he winds up in Houston as the defensive coordinator.
Yeah, I think
he'll make that defense hum. He'll make them an elite defense. I hope.
Yeah. Well, and like I said, nothing against Frank Reich. I like Frank Reich, but just a quick thought on that. It's ironic because the situation he leaves in Indy, it's kind of similar to this Carolina situation. You don't have much right now. And the reason that he got fired in Indy is, Jonathan Taylor didn't really perform up to spec, but you didn't have a quarterback. Matt Ryan, we love him, but he didn't play the way that everybody thought he was going to play. And now you're going to another team that there's a big question mark at quarterback in it. And, the Colts were devoid of talent on defense, and the Carolina Panthers, they're also devoid of that. They got some building to do. So he left. He was released from one situation, and he gets hired at a situation where I feel like they're kind of in a similar spot.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting offseason for these three teams. We do have two vacancies still out there. Arizona still without a head coach. Cliff Kingsbury went to Thailand, threw his phone in the ocean, and decided to shack up with his Instagram model girlfriend for a good month or two. And Indianapolis is kind of in limbo right now. That I believe Jeff Saturday is the head coaching candidate. Why? I don't know. I do have a bold prediction for Carolina. And here we go, right? Rystradamus is back at it again.
Here we go.
I think Frank Reich brings in Carson Wentz as his quarterback for 2023.
Oh, man.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I mean, he knows how to motivate Carson. He's done it before, but then where does that leave the Commanders? What do you think they do?
I think they're either they keep Taylor Heineke. Well, they'll probably name Taylor Heineke as their starting quarterback. They do have Sam Howell. He's their kind of quarterback in waiting. But I think they try to give Lamar Jackson a big contract.
Okay.
I think Lamar Jackson winds up one of two teams. I think he winds up in either Washington or he winds up in Tennessee.
Oh, okay. All right. That could be interesting.
Because unlike Baltimore, who's a running game, who's their running games by committee, he has that one running back in Derrick Henry.
He does.
He's the major running back. He don't have to worry about having to carry the ball 800 times a game.
Mm-hmm.
You've got a guy who can already do that, and all you have to worry about is just being a pocket passer, develop your game there, and learn how to be a pocket passer. You can. He's still young enough where he can change his game.
Mm-hmm.
So, yes, scramble when you need to, have a designed run play when you need to, but I think he needs to develop his skills as a pocket passer. I think Tennessee's the way to go because of they got a really solid offensive line, save for Taylor Lewan having that injury early in the season. He'll be back next year. But you have a premier running back. You can carry the load, so to speak. And all you got to do is worry about trying to protect the ball and be a pocket passer. So,
yeah. Well, I think, and what better way for Frank Reich to put his fingerprint on the Carolina Panthers early than to bring in a quarterback that knows his system, especially if Carolina ends up picking up a young quarterback in the draft.
Mm-hmm.
He can use Carson Wentz and, Carson Wentz
as a bridge.
As a stopgap. And I hate to put it that way because Carson Wentz at one point, we all remember what he did that first season in Philly, and he was the second pick overall, I believe, in the draft. Either that or the third quarterback. I can't remember which. I can't remember who was selected first, whether it was Wentz or Goff. I think that was the year. But Carson Wentz has fallen, but Frank Reich knows how to work with him. He's done it before. So maybe this is another shot at kind of rebuilding his image for Carson Wentz too. I think it could work.
Yep. Or, hey, Carolina might be a dark horse for to pick up Lamar Jackson. We never know. It's gonna be. I think it's gonna be a weird offseason for sure.
Yeah.
So we gotta move on quickly to our last topic of the night, and this topic is called the football team that will save Earth. Now, I came across this tweet this afternoon. I'm going to share it with y'all. This was a fun question from a user named @FakeFootballs. The name is a nerd named Andrew, and he asked this question. He says, aliens have invaded and challenged Earth to a game of American football with the fate of humanity on the line. We've been granted tech that can bring back any player in NFL history in their prime. Who's your squad? Who's your coach? What system are you running? Save Earth. I thought this was a great topic of discussion, Dustin. So I think we got to go through who we would pick as our team. So at quarterback, I'm going to go with Steve Young. He's tough.
Oh, okay.
He can throw. He's a left-hand quarterback. He can throw. He's smart as hell. That's my quarterback. Who would be your quarterback?
Okay, well, first I have to preface this that I I misread it and I thought you had to bring back any player. I was at work, I was reading too fast. But the first quarterback, and this might surprise some people because it's surprising me. I'm just going with what first came into my brain, Dan Marino. I think I bring
Mm,
back Dan Marino. He's got that quick release. He can make any throw. Um, I feel like I'm bringing back peak Dan Marino.
okay. Okay. Um, Running back. I've got one of two guys. I'm you know what, one running back. Walter Payton. I'm bringing
Okay.
back Walter Payton.
There you go. That's a sweet pick right there.
Hey, see what you did there.
Yeah. I This is the player that I texted you back in response when you first posed
Mhm,
this question to me. Barry Sanders to me is the pick. Barry Sanders. Now, my team, who knows how it's going to work, but Dan Marino, my reasoning with the quarterback is the quick release. He can make a lot of throws, but he also had a little bit of that improv in him.
mhm,
He had kind of that Brett Favre improvisational skill without all the picks. But my reasoning, Barry Sanders can make something out of nothing. And he did it, and he made people look foolish for so many years. And he made people look foolish when the Detroit Lions didn't really have much else around him for some years. Now, they did have some weapons. They had the wide receivers. They had, the Wayne Fontes. There were some good years there. But Barry Sanders, he would be my running back.
All right. Fullback at fullback, Mike Allstott.
Oh, man. He was a wrecking ball.
Oh,
He was a
he
wrecking
wa-
ball.
he was on my so many of my fantasy squads. Oh,
Now
fullback.
this is where my homer pick is going to come out. This is where my
All
homer
right.
pick is going to come out. I am picking Max Strong, and Seahawk fans will know why I'm picking Max Strong. He was he was very, very good, and a big reason why Sean Alexander had the career that he did. Yes, everybody knows about Walter Jones. Everybody knows about Steve Hutchinson, but the other big part of that was Max Strong. Trust me, look it up.
Okay. Okay. All right. Wide receiver. Wide receiver one, Jerry Rice.
Yes. I don't even you don't even have to ask me the question. It's yes.
Now, here's the tough part. Wide
Yeah.
receiver two.
Mm. For me, I'm saying the first name that comes to my mind, and I think this could all implode. I'm going Randy Moss.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing.
Okay. All right.
And for slot receiver, I'm going to say Wes Welker at slot receiver.
Yeah. Yeah, you know what? That's a great pick. That I mean, it really is. I'm trying to think of some of the notable slot receivers over the time, but no, there are some players that I'm thinking of that would be in the slot, but we're also on the outside a fair bunch. So
Right.
yeah, I think Wes Welker is the pick here. He was shifty. He was, do you go with Wes Welker 2.0 and go Julian Edelman? I mean,
Mhm,
maybe,
mhm.
but I would say Wes Welker for sure. That's a great pick.
All right. Tight end.
Oof. Okay, tight end. I gotta think because there's things you know what? I gotta do it. And I'm showing my football age here. I'm showing the period that I really started following football. I'm going Tony Gonzalez.
Okay.
I'm going
Solid
Tony
pick.
Gonzalez.
Solid pick. I'm going with Travis Kelsey.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
even though I've gotten some like old, we're both showing our area in a way, but
Yeah.
Travis Kelsey is going to break all the records, all the
He
tight end
will. That
records.
is true. And I'm kind of kicking myself that I didn't pick him, but I think we're gonna do okay with Tony Gonzalez too. Both Chiefs,
Both
both
Chiefs.
Chiefs.
Both Chiefs, absolutely. Um, Offensive line, man, there's some good ones out there.
Yes.
Um, At center, I'm going with Jimbo Covert. He protected Dan Marino in college.
Oh wow. Okay. All right. Oh man, center. You're really catching me off guard. I can't even think of some centers.
Jeff
People.
Saturday.
Yeah, no, I am not picking Jeff Saturday. I know.
How's your center? Not your head coach.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, yeah. He did a lot for Peyton Manning, that's for sure. And then, he was brought into Green Bay center. Man, I'm really drawing a blank here. I'm really just stepping right on it. I cannot I cannot think. So I guess by default I have to go with Jeff Saturday.
Yeah. I mean, you could have gone with Jimbo Covert too, but
Yeah. Yeah, but I can't always just be like, "Oh yeah, great pick." I can't do that.
So at left guard, let's see, left guard. Actually, at left tackle. Did
Yes,
he play
left
left
tackle.
tackle?
Oh, I have my pick for left tackle.
Okay.
This was one that I knew. Walter Jones, easy,
Okay.
easy. He was basically, you could always run the ball to the left, and the quarterback really wasn't going to get sacked. It didn't matter who was over there. Walter Jones was an absolute force. It's a crime that more people don't know who he was because he played on the Seahawks in some lean years.
All right. So my left tackle is going to be let me see. It was Anthony Munoz at left tackle.
Oh yeah, I think maybe.
Actually, I'm going to change my center. I'm going to change my center to Kevin Mawai.
Oh yeah, oh man.
What a stud!
Former Seahawk and former Jet. Obviously, more known for former Jet. I think he was a Seahawk at one point. I can't remember it. Now I'm second guessing myself. I could be thinking of somebody else.
Okay, so at right tackle, I'm going to go with Orlando Pace.
Oh, that's a good pick. That's a good pick. Okay, Ryan, I have a question for you because I'm looking it up what was Jonathan Ogden a right tackle?
Let me see.
I'm trying to find it here. Come on. Because this is where my football knowledge is weak, and I'm sure there's a lot of people out there. I'm sure there's a lot of people yelling.
You could have put him on either side. I think he played right tackle more.
Okay.
So Jonathan Ogden.
Yep, he's my guy then.
Okay. I would say Anthony Munoz on the right side or the left side. Anthony Munoz.
There you go.
Now at guard, one of my guards is going to be. Let's see, John Hanna from. I'm showing my age here. John Hanna, from the old Patriots teams.
Okay.
That's going to be one of my. That's going to be one of my guards.
All right, this is where I'm going, but they did so well together. They did so well together during their run. I'm putting Steve Hutchinson at guard. So I'm bringing back the focal points of those Seahawk offensive lines. Walter Jones and Steve Hutchinson united again.
And the other guard are going to have Larry Allen.
Oh, I'm going with that. That's a great pick. There's so many. There's people whose names I knew, and then you don't think of it, and then when you say it, you're like, "Yep,
Yep, the old Cowboys guard, Larry Allen.
Those Cowboys offensive lines.
He anchored that line, man. Yeah. All right, so assuming we're playing a 4-3 defense, and I will play a 4-3, defensive tackles, I'm going to go with Reggie White.
Yes, you have to go Reggie White.
And Aaron Donald.
Oh, wow. Yeah. You know what? I gotta stamp it. You got somebody from the old era and you got somebody from new, that. Yes. Now, what about or no, he was an end. Never mind.
Who?
I was thinking, like, do you go like Dwight Freeney or somebody like that with that spin?
I was thinking of Edge, Lawrence Taylor, and Derek Thomas.
Oh, yeah. You know what? I will section because I said LT's. I said to myself as soon as we switched to defense, I said, well, LT's got to be on there. He's got to be on there.
Now Jeff is saying Bruce Smith and
Bruce
Reggie
Smith.
White.
Yeah.
Bruce Smith was a great defensive end, but I was thinking more of interior. I thought Reggie White was more of an interior guy, if I remember correctly, but I can't remember off the top of my head. But yeah, but I would have gone. But I think Reggie White also played. No, that was Jerome Brown who played.
Yeah,
Interior.
Jerome Brown. They were together in Philly, weren't they? I think it was
Yes.
Jerome Brown and Reggie White.
Yep. And Jerome Brown, unfortunately, his life cut short for that car accident. Ooh,
Yes.
unfortunately. Yeah, edge. I would have Lawrence Taylor and Derek Thomas. Linebackers, Ray Lewis.
Mm-hmm. What about? Well, I'm trying to think. What about Troy Polamalu? But he was a safety, wasn't he? Yeah, he was a safety. Yeah.
So Ray Lewis, Derek Brooks.
Yeah, those Bucks defenses were fantastic. We are showing our football age with some of these.
And I'm thinking of another linebacker. So one of the better linebackers from back in the day.
Let's see. Oh, it's all these things. Let's see. What about Junior Seau?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, he was a terror for sure.
Oh, absolutely. Corners, Deion Sanders.
Yep. Prime time. You love him or hate him. He's got to be one of the picks for sure.
And I was thinking the other side. I was thinking actually let's redo the defensive line. Interior defensive line, I would actually have Warren Sapp and Aaron Donald.
Oh, okay.
So thanks, 60. I appreciate that. What about Warren Sapp? Yeah, definitely. Warren Sapp and Aaron Donald plugging up that middle. And at edge, you'd have Lawrence Taylor and Derek Thomas. At tackle, I would defensive tackle. Like if I needed a tackle who could try to stop the run or get a timely sack, I would definitely put Reggie White.
Yeah. I mean, you got to put the Minister of Defense in
Absolutely. There. All right. So at corners, we got Deion Sanders. Trying to think of another one. I was thinking Darrelle Revis.
Yeah, I was going to say, are you going Revis Island?
I was going with Revis Island, but I don't want to keep hug the entire time.
Yeah, but no, I mean that's for me. I mean, I'm thinking of corners as well. Deion is the one that is universally known, and he's shut down. I mean, there's been some great corners. There's been Jonathan Joseph. He was really good for. I'm just trying to think of some of these. Marshawn Lattimore of the Saints. He's a very good corner today.
Mm-hmm.
But I hate to say it because not a lot of people liked him, but he did back up his talk a lot of times, and he had a lot of interceptions. What about Richard Sherman? What about putting him somewhere? I mean, I know I sound like a Seahawk homer. I mean, I've basically Seahawk homered half the offensive line, so whatever. And I got Max Strong at fullback, but I'm telling you, I feel great about that. But for people that don't know, go out and look up some Max Strong highlights after this show.
Yeah, so I got Revis and Deion Sanders as our corners. Safeties, I was thinking Troy Polamalu is one. Ed Reed is another.
Oh, he was so rangy back there. He could do so many things. Those Baltimore Ravens defenses. Oh, yeah, those are some good options here. Let's see. Man. It's like a roller.
Kicker.
Oh man, Mike Vanderjack, no contest. No, I'm joking.
Justin Tucker.
Yeah.
Most accurate kicker in history.
I mean, he And he's kicked now. An argument could certainly be made if we're talking prime. Adam Vinatieri. He could.
Honorable mention for safety. Ronnie Lott.
Oh yeah, Ronnie Lott.
Once
man,
had his own finger cut off so he could play a game.
So he could play. And where are we putting? We could put Singletary on these teams as well. Mike
Singletary. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. As a
there's
linebacker.
There's so many players. But yeah, this was a great exercise.
And at punter.
Oh, I got it. All right, I'm gonna say this kind of as a joke, but I'm putting Sean Landeta up just because he was around forever.
He was around forever. He was in the USFL.
Yes, and he was punting. He was punting like you're like, how is Sean Landeta still in the league? And the thing is, he's like 40 years old. He's still punting well,
Yeah. Oh, your uncle says Ray Guy.
Oh, okay. All right.
I was thinking either Ray Guy, Sean Landeta, or Reggie. And now here's a guy. Or let me think. Who else was it? Was it Reggie Roby?
Oh,
as the other punter. For special teams, Steve Tasker.
Oh yeah, Steve Tasker. That hustle play. Everyone remembers that for sure. For sure.
An honorable mention at safety, Kelso.
Okay.
From the Bills with the hat. We had some brief suggestions in the chat too. Ken Norton Jr. is a linebacker. He was mentioned. Adam Vinatieri was mentioned.
For kicker,
Charles Woodson mentioned. Let me think. Who else? Gronk as a tight end.
Yeah, you could put Gronk in there for sure. He could do. We
had some pretty good. We had some pretty good players in there. So yeah, I mean, if the comment section or on our social media, give us your. I mean, this is just for starters. I mean, for depth, my goodness, depth we could go forever. But we've already gone over time. Your uncle said Mark Bavaro, tight end. He was one of the great tight ends, the silent assassin. one of the great tight ends, and not only in Giants history for sure.
Well, and I was almost going with Kellen Williams Sr. I want to be very careful.
Winslow? You mean Winslow?
Yeah.
Kellen Winslow. Yeah.
Kellen Winslow Sr. I want to be very careful that I do not say Junior there.
I'm thankful he didn't say Jeremy Stevens.
Oh yeah, no, I don't even think Hope Solo would put him on her team. We'll see.
No, never. All right, folks. I think this will wrap it up for this edition of No Credentials Required. We had some fun tonight talking conference championships. We talked about the coaches. We talked about this mutant team that we're putting together. So, we got one question. LaDainian Tomlinson as running back needs to be third down back. Absolutely.
Oh,
absolutely. Yeah, for sure. Because LaDainian Tomlinson was dangerous as a third down back.
Yes, he was.
All right, so we're going to wrap things up here. Don't forget our social channels, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, at NoCredsREQ, Facebook.com/NoCredsREQ, YouTube.com/at NoCredsREQ. If you're watching on replay, if you're watching live, regardless, smash that like button, smash it good, but smash responsibly. We appreciate it. On the podcast side, Megaphone is our home base, but you also find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Spreaker, Google Play, any iHeartRadio, anywhere you podcast, rate and review, subscribe, leave a 5-star rating. And if you leave a review, I might read it on the air. I actually have a comment here from our Apple podcast side.
Ooh.
From user.
Oh no, it's just going to be a bunch of numbers here.
Yeah, it starts with C, then it goes to 2648, close apostrophe, and a bunch of other numbers. It says great stuff from the guys. One of the most must listen podcasts on the internet. So hey, we're a must listen.
Oh man, honored.
We had V Jankowicz saying great fun, great show, always a fun listen. Josh says Ryan and Dustin are the perfect duo. They have a great chemistry talking sports, but they also throw in their funny personalities with corny jokes. that will keep you entertained and
Oh, I
laughing.
got those. I got those for days.
We got jokes.
Yeah.
We got jokes. And as always, whether you're watching on replay or if you're watching live is better. Replay is great. We want your comments. Dustin, I gotta play that sweet, sweet harp sound before we leave.
One more time.
Gotta hear that soothing sound. And just a small programming note: we're not going to be live on Friday because there are no NFL games coming up. I've actually got we've got a hockey super stream coming up on Thursday night at 8 p.m. Eastern on Belly Up Sports YouTube channel. We're gonna have a super duper hockey live stream featuring guests from What a Hockey, their podcast, World Hockey Report, and we'll have Jesse Pierce from Bar Down Buttes, excuse me, the Bar Down Buttes. She covers the Minnesota Wild for the NHL. She's going to be on our show. We'll also have Josh Mailer from Rising to the Occasion and Brent from 1420 all the way out in Calgary, Lethbridge, Alberta, Canada. So there on our YouTube channel for Belly Up Sports. Actually, they'll be on both Facebook and on YouTube. So tune in on Thursday night at 8 p.m. Eastern time, excuse me. No show on Thursday or Tuesday, excuse me. We're taking some time off, but on Friday, the 10th, we will have our Super Bowl preview. So tune in then. We'll have some guests. We'll have some rotating guests come in and out. Then we'll have our Tuesday reaction to the Super Bowl. And then we'll take some extended time off. We'll take a good 2 week break just to kind of recharge our batteries, talk about the show going forward, and we'll come back with some brand new content the following 2 weeks after. So we could be into March by then. February goes in a blink. So
yes, it does.
Yeah. So we're going to have some stuff ahead. But in the meantime, thank you for watching or listening to No Credentials Required, where you don't need a press pass to talk sports. We are presented by Belly Up Sports in association with Godzilla Media in the capital region. For Dustin Henry, my broadcast partner, I'm Ryan McCarthy. Thank you again for watching or listening, and we'll talk to you again next Friday. I think next Friday for our Super Bowl preview. So tune in then, and we'll see you next time.
Good night, everybody.